Hello friends, good evening to all of you. I am Audhendra Yadav. The news that I'm going to share with you, the pandemic and the war, Ukraine war, that has exhibited the political and economic chaos into the many countries. I am very disappointed and very much in I can say that as a word citizen, it is very painful to when I am getting the news that the South American countries like Brazil and Peru, they are politically unstable right now. Some political leaders like Bolsonaro, Brazil former president, he lost election and he is raising their voice against the credibility of the election result, and he is accusing his political opponent Lula about the election fraud, and his supporter actually destabilized the country and toppled the very institutions, and they violently whatever have done. You can see on the internet and Google it, you will see that. And let's Peru, there is also a political chaos in the country, and Venezuela, you can see that it is failed state. Argentina is a failed state. So if half of the continent is reeling under the political and economic crisis, look at the Africa. No country is stable politically or economically. They are suffering. They have been suffering economically, but there is interlinked between economic and political stability. So there is chaos. Come to the South Asia, the failing state Sri Lanka. Look at Pakistan. Greatly has failed to deliver what they are supposed to do. It is verged on the collapse. Go to the China, his ambitions to acquire the South China Sea, and his development, his nefarious action towards the Taiwan, self-ruled state. Go in circle to the Central Asia. Central Asian countries are, 2 years, if you look back, there was also chaos in Kazakhstan. Means there is also, you look at Afghanistan, there is chaos. Terrorism rooted there and building their root. It would be very hard for the world leaders to uproot the terrorism from this land. Go to the Russia. Look at North Korea, what is developing, nuclear missiles, etc. Encircle towards Russia. Look at Ukraine, and look at the European Union. European Union, particularly a good kind of citizen, they are good, no doubt, but they are suffering greatly. Economic cost of living is very high. They all are in the war, with the Ukraine supporting them. against Russia. I am questioning this war. Is that this war was inevitable? Look at some G7 countries are little bit stable politically. But if you go to the Donald Trump election defeat and you have in the memory that he raised, and he first said that the election was fraud, and whatever he did, everybody knows. He went to demolish the capital. His supporters actually, whatever did have done, I think everyone's memories has some kind of memory. So, in my views, we have failed our ambitions, what we wanting to achieve. We have already fought 2 wars, World War. Millions of people had died and greatly had suffered. Which area we are heading? We are the global citizen. If I'm telling you a report from the United Nations Human Rights Council, what he said that the Title 42, the very Title 42 controversial rule passed by the US President Joe Biden to stop the people who is coming from the side of Mexico. Actually Donald Trump took to build the wall to separate the Mexican peoples to go into as an immigrant to the United States, and Mr. President Joe Biden announced a new plan to expand a controversial rule called Title 42 to stop immediately and return the people coming from the border areas. Some 30,000 people per month are being expelled out from the Mexico border, and Venezuela and Haitian peoples are Nicaragua, etc. These peoples are per month going into infiltrating, because these countries are and their citizens are suffering greatly. There is political chaos you can think of. Venezuela, and Haiti and Cuban people are, they are living in a very, what can I say if I don't have words? But the Human Rights Council chief actually said that US border enforcement plan risk the undermining the basic fundamentals and foundation of international human rights and refugee laws. So he actually said that, I'm quoting, the international principles of non-refoulement guarantees that no one should be returned to a country where there would face torture, cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment or punishment. If these people are going there because there is political chaos in their country, they cannot be forced to go back to your country to live in a inhuman situation or degraded situation. So for that, to avoid these situations, they are going into the country. As USA has already signed, and he is the champion of human rights. So how can he does this? And even human rights chief actually also excited the many laws, extradition laws, asylum and refugee laws, human rights laws, migration laws, laws of the armed conflict. These 5 laws you have internationally accepted. So the right to seek asylum is a human right, no matter a person origin, immigration status, or how they have arrived at the international border. These are doesn't matter. So I put forth in front of you, guys, how world is today and what it is could be if the Russia and Ukraine war go into the state of uncompromising situations. Where there is no point of return. If that summit level comes in, then what will happen? In my views, this war is going to take a very serious turn, and its consequences would be very disastrous. I have read many books at the political front, at the global front, at the global history, and the ethos and cultural books, Mahabharat, Indian ethos, which is presenting the how wars happened and how this is happening at the ethical ground and moral ground. They have explained well, and I can predict this, that this is going to be disastrous. The degrading world leaders, if you see, there is 2 players which is coming out. 2 players. One is already there, United States of America, and second was growing China. China is authoritative government. Chinese people are good. But the government which is authoritarian, he only understands the law of force. Wherever he is or China is going, it is creating a kind of chaotic world order. Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang province, you can see that. Religiously is converting Muslims into Chinese Muslim. So it is very unfortunate, and his increasing threat towards the Japan. Japan is actually feeling heat from the China, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is now 5 countries visit. He is going to France, UK. He is now in UK and signed a defense pact with Rishi Sunak. And the UK is deploying troops, and UK already has deployed his Navy ship into the Indian Ocean, and France is also improving his footprints into the Indian Ocean and Indo-Pacific region. So there is a disturbance going in 5 and 10 years into the South China Sea, which is connecting the Indian Ocean. So Indo-Pacific Ocean, this is going to be next war zone, next center of war. Lord, let's see. But the Quad grouping actually hurting China and AUKUS, Australia and UK and USA. The grouping is actually paining Great China. So China is actually worried about the development of these two groupings, which is India is the immediate neighbor of China. But the point what I want to make is that this chaotic order, when any time in the world there is a chaotic order, then all those who has nefarious vision to topple the democratic government, these forces comes out. See, my eastern neighbor, as I'm sitting in India, my eastern neighbor has coup, and he toppled the democratic government called Myanmar. And see the Bangladesh. Bangladesh, actually his opponent party plus religious fundamentalism is actually demanding from 3 and 4 months to step down the government, Hasina government there. And this religious fundamental Muslim forces will come out and rule the country. Means authoritarian system is coming out. Everywhere I can say you can say that in Germany, 2.5 months just go into back, and you will see the news that some Germany Nazis supporters came out to topple the government, and security forces actually took steps to oppress them. So you just see that whenever the right forces strength just undermined, then the nefarious visions actors comes out. Both are surviving into the ecosystem. In a democratic ecosystem, these opposite forces are also parallelly working. If you are not taken care of seriously, then they will demolish the country's masses accepted fabric. So once there is chaos in a country, or there is chaos in the world order, then the forces who are behind many years will come out and topple the government, topple the stable government. So we need, as a world citizen, to step out and have to not to support those actors who are actually exploiting the opportunity. Okay, it is my responsibility, my duty to not to support them, but try to at least overcome the problem, not to support them. This is the message I am getting. I can give you 100 plus countries out of 193 UN recognized countries, which is politically, economically ruined and bankrupt and disestablished. They tried to establish the democratic fabric, but they could not able to do it. So, as a global citizen, we must have to step out with a good vision and good values, and we have to preserve the system. Don't let the system go into, you know, ruined. Thank you very much. I am very worried. I wanted to share this information with you from 2 months before, but I could not actually get the time to share with you about this matter. But we have more. We must have to very careful. We don't have to support those forces who are actually have the nefarious vision. So those who are politically inactive, they must have to activate their uh, mm, political activities little bit. At least you have to know what is going on in the country as a responsible citizen. Otherwise, we will face a very disastrous consequences. Thank you very much.